And remember, I'm talking about fear and discouragement. And one question I want to ask is this: what are you afraid of? And why are you afraid of it? And the major question of the three is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? The truth is that sometimes in life, we get greeted in moments we least expect. Things happen to us that we wish never would happen to some of the people who were close to us. And that was Widerman's experience. And then fear gripped her. And then the fear of death became lively before her. The fear of everything she owed. Sometimes life will scare you so hard that the only option you have will just be to give up, to quit, to retire from whatever you're trying to pursue or achieve. And that would just be the fastest way to get rid of whatever you may be going through. But of course, that's not the way, because you don't give a weak response to a difficult situation. You don't respond back to life in a calm way when life hits you so hard. You have to mash it up. You have to measure up. You have to step up and then give back to life what is given to you. And that's how you can overcome. I promise to share with you two things: discouragement and fear. These two words, they look ordinary, but they are so significant in our lives as we say through life, as we try to achieve things, as we try to walk our way through life, because life will play us in ways that we will have no other option than to either be discouraged or be afraid. And all of this happen to all of us all the time. There are situations that causes you to be afraid. Of course, we all have fears. That's the truth. There's no one living human being that can boast of not being afraid of anything in his life. At some moment, you have fear. At some moment, you'll be afraid. At some other time, you'll be discouraged. Yes, you'll be discouraged. I'm going to learn how those two things happen to all of us. I saw the story of one young lady, Ivory Widerman. I actually found this story in his book, David Jeremiah, Slaying the Giant Within You. Ivory Widerman was a lady, and then one day she decided to go to the hospital for checkup, what is necessary for every human. Then when she got to the hospital after the checkup, she was awaiting a result. And not long from that moment, the doctor walked over. And then looking at the doctor, when she saw the gesture on the doctor's face, she was already troubled. She knew things were not right. And not long from that moment, the doctor came to let her know that she had cancer of the breast. Widerman felt like the end of the world. She didn't know what to do. Why? Because she had been suffering. Of course, life has been very hard on her, but just a few weeks back, she got a new job. A new job that gave her a new car. The job gave her a new apartment and a promising office. And then above all of this, she'd never been in any serious relationship. She was in a relationship that was leading to marriage. All of this just happening within a short space of time. And in all of these joyful experiences, she was soon greeted with the news of cancer in her breast. And then the amazing part was the doctor told her that she just have 20% chances to be alive. Oh, with a man, according to her, she felt she wanted to just press pause button to life, because everything is just happening to her like a flash. Thinking she's finding new joy, new reasons to be happy, but then she was soon greeted with the news of cancer and then having just 20% chances to live. The truth is that sometimes in life, we get greeted in moments we least expect. Things happen to us that we wish never would happen to some of the people who were close to us. And that was Widerman's experience. And then fear gripped her. And then the fear of death became lively before her. The fear of everything she owned, how she would not be able to enjoy new blessings. The fear of life itself, and many other things. And remember, I'm talking about fear and discouragement. And one question I want to ask is this: what are you afraid of? And why are you afraid of it? And the major question of the three is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And now this will take me to scriptures. Deuteronomy chapter 31 and just verse 8. The NIV version, and then the second will be the New Living Translation, NLT. He said, the Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid Do not be discouraged. NLT says, do not be afraid or discouraged. Do not be afraid or discouraged. He said, for the Lord will personally go ahead of you. I like that one. Lord will personally go ahead of you. Now, God is going to be ahead of you. Okay? And then He will be with you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you. He will be with you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you. Now, in verse 3 of this Deuteronomy chapter 31, and the Bible also used the word that God will go ahead of you. And then the one question I wanted to ask you would have been, why will God go ahead of you? Fear and discouragement. The word translated fear in that scripture is the Hebrew word yareh. And yareh is a causative word. And what does that mean? It means something that causes fear. Okay? The fear itself is as a result of an experience or something. And then that's why I realized, that's why God said, I'm going to go ahead of you so that whatever is going to cause fear, I'm going to interface it before it gets to you. I'll interface it before it gets to you. All right? So the fear there speaks of something that causes dread, something that causes you to be afraid. That will suggest there are a number of experiences that brings fear, that makes you afraid. Yeah, like the story we read, the story of Ivory Widerman. It was obvious she was afraid of life because of the news of cancer in our most joyful moment of life. And then God was saying, I'll go ahead of you according to that scripture. Now, watch this. Another word the Bible uses there is the word discouragement. Discouragement. And the word translated discouragement there is the word hatat. In Hebrew, it means atat. What's atat? Atat speaks of a kind of a violent experience. The other time I was talking about force, a forceful experience that causes you to give up. A forceful experience that causes you to back out, to prostrate, to bow down, to break out, to abandon a project, to run away from something, or a kind of confusion and fear. So discouragement happens when you are faced with a kind of a violent experience that is opposing whatever you're trying to do or trying to achieve. And then the only thing you have to do is to back out. Or better still, you are experiencing confusion, fold. You're in a situation where it appears everything around you, you can't fine-tune it, you can't put things together. And that's discouragement. And then that will lead to fear. Amazingly, something about fear. Fear brings with it doubt. Now, one of the most dangerous aspects of fear is the fact that fear comes with doubt. Every fearful man is full of doubt. He's afraid of so many things and he's doubting so many things. And then the painful part of doubt is that doubt grows within you. It grows within you and overshadows your thoughts and take over your mind. Your mind is your seat of thought. And then when doubt takes its seat in your mind, you wouldn't be able to think clearly because everything that comes to your mind is of doubt because of fear. Because of fear. And God is saying, don't be afraid or discouraged, for I'll be with you. I'll go ahead of you. And what's God saying to somebody today? That no matter what you go through, no matter what faces your life, what causes you to be afraid, and then what challenges you may be going through that is trying to cause you to back out, to give up, God is saying, I'll not just go with you, I'll go before you. And that was Moses' words to Joshua. And of course, Joshua is becoming the new leader of the children of Israel. Deuteronomy 31, Moses was speaking to the people that is not 120 years old, that God has told him that he will not follow them into the promised land. And then that Joshua will be their new leader. Joshua will be the one to take them into the promised land. And then Moses was telling the people that they have nothing else to do than to yield to the instruction and leadership of Joshua. And after talking to the people, now he came to talk to Joshua now because Joshua is going to be the new leader of the people, that he doesn't have to be afraid or discouraged. Moses' word will suggest that there are a number of things that will cause Joshua to be afraid and to be discouraged. And that's why I was telling him that God will be with you and he will go before you. Now remember, discouragement has two legs, like I told you before now. And one of the legs of discouragement is the leg I call violence or force. What is it that is challenging your life forcefully? What are you experiencing that is like too difficult for you to challenge? What problem are you experiencing or going through that appears to be too fierce for you? You don't have the stamina to be able to withstand it or the stamina to resist it. That's enough to cause you to be discouraged, to back out, to give up, to just retire yourself, to prostrate, to bow before the situation. But I've just come to tell you that God is saying, don't be afraid or discouraged. Yes, or perhaps there's so much confusion in your life. You can't put things together. And that's what happens when life presents you a curve. You know, if you're traveling and then you get to a curve, you don't see the next vehicle coming. You can't tell what is coming. So usually in driving, they tell you when you're driving, then you are pushing a curve, you slow down. Slow down because you don't know what is coming from the other side. And you can't phantom it, you can't see it. And when life presents you a curve, and I'm telling you to tell you that just slow down, calm down. Don't be discouraged. Don't give up. When it appears you can't see ahead, you don't seem to understand what's ahead of you, don't give up. And that was what Moses was telling Joshua. Joshua has not been the leader of the children of Israel before now. But then he's now going to be the one to take them to the promised land, because God told Moses that he will not get into the land with the children of Israel. But then faced with fear and discouragement, he was encouraged by God's word that God is going to be with him. Remember I said when I started this video that don't give a weak response to a tough situation. That's not the way to do it. You don't back out of a terrible circumstance. You don't back out. You may slow yourself down and then put yourself back together, but don't give up. Life is a journey. I told you about the story of Ivory, where the man. Another story I saw that gave me so much concern was the story of Caroline. Now, Caroline was a lady who was so smart with the use of her hands. I can relate with her because back then in secondary school, I think precisely JSS2, I was the best typewriter student in my school. I was the one organizing private lessons for a director. I was tutoring people who came to my school to learn how to type. I can relate with Caroline because she was far better than I am. She could do 86 words per minute, but I couldn't do 86 words per minute back then. I was close to 70 words per minute. I was about 68, 67 words per minute typing. I can relate with her because I was there. I used to type. That's to tell her that she's very good in typing. And that's not all. And then she's a keyboardist. She's a very good keyboardist for that matter. And she was living life well until something happened to her. We're talking about discouragement. What happened to her? 1991, David Jeremiah shared in his book that Caroline had a stroke. And the stroke almost took her life. And that wasn't all. She could barely survive the stroke. But after the stroke, Caroline was paralyzed. And then it was even a miracle she was alive, that she began to learn how to do everything she had always known how to do. She learned how to talk. They began to teach her how to talk, how to pick things up, how to use her hands. Look at it. There's somebody that could type 86 words per minute. Somebody that could play the keyboard in a professional way. Then life happened to her. She's in a situation where she had to begin to learn how to use her hands. Now, that's the image of discouragement, the picture of discouragement. And then the question would have been, where will she be starting from? That's life confusion. All these things I could do, all I've been, everything gone at a flash. Where do I start from? How do I begin to learn how to use my hands? I that could type 86 words per minute, that could play the keyboard fluently, professionally. The truth of the matter is that kind of experience will cause discouragement. And that's confusion. And that situation looks violent. It's posing before her an experience that is difficult for her to overcome. And the only way out of such kind of situation, the natural man will want to just give up, be discouraged. But remember, fear and discouragement, they go together. And I've just come to tell you that don't be afraid. When life hits you hard, hits life back hard. If the heat is too hard on you, take a break. Generate strength. Gather up yourself. Get back. Because you don't give a weak response to strong heat from life. You don't give a weak response to it. You respond with courage. You respond with strength. You respond with belief. You respond with hope and faith. And I didn't tell you this about the story of Ivory. It was recorded that when Ivory saw herself in that situation, she was confused. She didn't know what to do, afraid of life. And then she remembered Jesus. She had to cry back to Jesus. She went back to like, Jesus, you need to help me. And fast forwarded, several years back, the cancer was gone. God helped her through the cancer, the therapy. And then she had a beautiful life and she got married and every other thing was fine for her again. I'm just here to tell you today that when life hits you with discouragement or fear, you don't give up. You don't back out. You don't give in. You step up. Step up. And remember, fear works with discouragement. There are two duo that works together. Discouragement uses fear against you. But the challenge is when fear meets discouragement in your life, or better stay, when discouragement meets fear in your heart, what will you do? What will you do? Run back to Jesus and don't give up. What am I here to tell you? I'm here to tell you that life happens to everybody. Whatever happened to Caroline and Ivory can happen to anyone. Yes, there are people who are faced with such kind of situation. And even yesterday, someone called me and then trying to seek my counsel before a situation. He had a very terrible experience that needs to take a decision for, and he was calling for counsel. Truth is that I felt I had some little challenges, but when I heard what he was sharing with me, I was like, life, life is so amazing, I felt I was having some little challenge, but trust me, what the guy was going through was bigger than mine. For real. And I had to encourage him, of course, but his experience also made me realize that no matter what you go through, and I'm telling you today, no matter what you go through, someone is going through something bigger than that. And that's why no matter where you find yourself, be an encourager. You can help someone in your state. You can help someone, you can encourage somebody, you can support somebody, you can give strength to someone. You can help someone overcome their own fears, discouragement. And you too can be strong. Fix your discouragement and fears. Remember, when life hits you hard, don't back out. Don't quit. But return back the hit with a stronger response. Because if you show weakness to life, you'll not be able to survive. Have you watched my other video? Free attitude that helps you unlock God's promises in your life. That video is going to do your way too, and then you can watch the other video. Please remember to subscribe and leave your comments and share this video with someone.